Thus far, these are the schools that have the most transfer portal departures by school. They've had a ton of players leave, and these can be some scary numbers to look at, but I think some teams on here should be more concerned than others. Like, for example, Washington State, they should be very alarmed. They lost many critical playmakers and many talented players, and it's a really tough spot for them to be in right now. With Purdue, a little bit less concerned because they weren't as good as Washington State this last season. They were pretty tragically bad, and there are some talented players that walked that they probably didn't want to leave per se, but it's probably best to clear house when the culture was that horrible and they're bringing in a new era. At Arkansas, 30 departures for a team that did not change head coaches is pretty alarming, and I'm not necessarily confident that they replaced it with more talented players, so we'll see what happens with the Hogs. With Oklahoma, I feel a little better about them than I do about Arkansas, just because there was a little bit more dysfunction and they brought in some players to be really excited about, like John Mateer. With Arizona, I'd be feeling okay right now just because year one was so disappointing under Brent Brennan. You want to give him a chance to get his own players on the roster, and so it feels like that's what's sort of maybe happening right now. Maybe there was too much of the fish regime that was on campus. Mississippi State is kind of in the Purdue camp of, yeah, you just want a hard reset and just get those guys out of here. Nebraska, more had to do with the change at defensive coordinator that involved a lot of defensive players going. People have cited the scholarship limit a lot, but I wouldn't be too alarmed if I'm Nebraska either. For all three of these teams, I feel like they fall into a similar camp of necessary changes were made that simply forced some guys out to clear up spots for guys that they thought that were going to be a better fit. None of these three teams had the type of season they were hoping for last year, and so all are undergoing changes, even though you've got three coaches in drastically different time periods at their current schools. I still think no reason to raise the alarm yet for those schools. And then there's Michigan and Alabama, which is the case of these big schools who are just losing some depth pieces, maybe every once in a while a starter that they didn't necessarily want to lose, but no need to be alarmed at all because they recruit at a very high level. They're going to replace that talent through recruiting and also through the portal when they need to. But let me know down in the comments, which of the schools on here do you think are going to be in trouble?